Why do you think it has become almost a trend that whenever we lose people, there are undertones of suspicion about why somebody has died? When we lost the General Lokech, may his soul rest in peace, the IGP came out and he said we should have an investigation about my man's death. This time it was the family of the late Jacob Oulanya sounding to be suspicious, in addition to other people, undertones that may not publicly get a chance to come out. A number of other deaths have come, people that have had people that have sounded suspicious of poison and things like that, although sometimes these are voices that may not get the platform to come out. Why do you think we have this trend?
Death is something that is old and yet very new whenever it strikes. And mankind appreciates death in different ways. And whenever it strikes, there is always blame. There is always blame. There is always blame. We don't believe that someone can die naturally or someone can die of a natural cause. And there's quite a number of theories that goes on with that. When everybody who has passed on, there has always been such allegations against death. When Mayombo passed on, yes, we had the same. When Aronda passed on, we had the same. When Oketa passed on, we had the same. When Ochora passed on, we had the same. When Ayume passed on, we had the same. When the Governor Bank of Uganda passed on, we had... So it's like a common...
Actually, the Honorable Gilbert Oulanya at Parliament said, government should explain to us, why do our people die just months in big offices? But
to me, that is a way of coming to terms with the shock that somebody has passed on, has died. But it's also to tell you that society still don't understand death properly. Because you see, we human beings, we live and we die. There is time to be born, there is time to live, and there is time to die. And when someone dies, definitely, that is how the person ends. We wouldn't want, of course, the investigations, the alarms, the cries, the blame, game, and all that, it fits in certain theories that people would like to be cleared off, which is normal. And at the end of the day, after the burial, when everything is settled, they will go back to normal. They would understand that really somebody died of a natural death. For example, Oulanya, he has been in and out of hospital. Everybody knows that, including Parliament. He has been sickly, he has been attending medical care from around the country, from outside the country for a long time. Okay. And at the end of the day, the report is that he was suffering from cancer. Even from those that are speaking, who visited him in the hospital, when he went to Germany last time, when he was the deputy speaker, and the Speaker of Parliament, Kadaga, was blaming him for traveling without notifying her. The Honorable Jacob Oulanya was going for medical care. That is what now is coming up. So it's like he knew his condition, and he was, through Oulanya, that he was handling it alone without sharing with anybody. And like everybody else thought Oulanya was okay, and yet actually he knew he was not fine until he met his death. And indeed, anybody would say, the man was strong, the man was okay. How comes he has died all of a sudden? So anybody would ask a question, why has he died, how, when, where? So all those questions are always asked during time of mourning. But I'm sure that the medical professions will, and have been explaining, they will come and explain. We all carry different sicknesses in our bodies. True. And each of them can attack at any one time and any one point. And that does not mean that somebody has been killed. Because it is like, if I have my own ailment that you don't know, it is me that really has it, have it. And it can't be public information. It can't be public information. We need to respect privacy of individuals. Okay. And so when such brings me to the end of my road, I don't need to blame any other person. That is how God would have deemed it fit for me to pass on. And so I believe that as we mourn Comrade Speaker Jacob, we also need to be respectful enough that he has a family, he has children, he has relatives. The words we throw around, the blame game we use, may affect these children and this family much more than anybody else.
Okay.
For us, as the public, we shall mourn and we shall bury, but for the family, they will carry his memories for a longer time. And so we need to be mindful of his children in this time that we are mourning. So we really know that we believe, rightfully so, that the report that is being given by the medical profession has cleared the air from all the suspicion that people were having.
There is another habit of families and regions claiming positions. When the MP for a certain area dies, you see a family at the burial saying, we have a daughter that is coming up. We have a grandchild that is going to take over. And actually, with the sympathies in the constituencies, these people have won, and a number are still in parliament, actually. When we lost the Bank of Uganda governor, there were undertones of people saying, this position is ours, and we want the president to appoint another man from Chigezi. You had, I don't know whether you had people saying, the speakership position should come back to northern Uganda, especially actually. What do you think of these kind of beliefs that have come up? Do they have anywhere to take us as a country?
Of course, it cannot take us far as a country. We cannot subject national offices to regional sharing.
Can Todwong's son be exactly like Todwong?
My son, that's why we have fingerprints. My fingers are different from that of my children or my son or my anybody. My fingerprint is recorded is different from another person. So we are different. And so my son or my relative might not do the things I'm doing, the way I'm doing it.
Exactly.
And that is quite different. So that is a misnomer that we cannot place national offices to such. And indeed, that kind of concept was rejected in the Central Executive Committee of the party. When the idea was brought, the members of parliament from West Nile, Acholi and Lango came up with that idea.
Yes.
They met the president, and it was discussed in Central Executive Committee of the party. We said, no. National offices cannot be tribalized or regionalized. Let everybody compete based on talents. And when they compete based on talents, the best is selected, the best is voted for. So we are not going to reduce the office of the speaker to a region. Oulanya was not voted for as the speaker because he's an Acholi or he's from northern region. Oulanya was voted for as the speaker because the parliament and government felt he qualified to be a speaker. And so we don't need to reduce national offices to such. And people should desist from such tendencies.
But you have reduced the national office of the Speaker of Parliament as a party this time to a norm that the deputy must take over from. If a speaker is going out, a deputy must take over. And according to our sources from the SEG, this was one of the reasons as to why the Right Honourable Anita Among stood more chances. Because
like I said earlier on, we believe in grooming. We believe when somebody is a deputy, that person has learned the do's and don'ts of a particular office. And when the speaker leaves, the deputy can take over properly because the deputy would have worked closely with the speaker who could have left. And then when Wakabulu was the speaker,
the later Yume was his deputy.
Yes. When the later Yume was the speaker,
His Excellency
Sekande was the deputy. When Sekande was the speaker, Kadaga was the deputy. When Kadaga was the speaker, Oulanya was the deputy. When Oulanya was the speaker, Anita Among was the deputy.
Isn't that norm denying us new talent?
No. There is a point of entry of new talents. The point of entry of new talents is at the deputy level. That is how the Taiba has entered. Taiba entered as a new person. So now he has to be there to learn how things are done. When tomorrow Anita Among leaves, Taiba is moved, then another person enters.
Okay.
So it's a chain.